extraordinary year of upheaval.
Economic hardship,
climate change,
multilateralism,
cyber threats,
geopolitics,
Inflation.
trade,
US-China relations in the next 20 years,
tariffs on ASEAN,
minimum salary,
Education.
young people,
self-radicalized, job opportunities.
how firstly would countries like ours persist?
the international environment has become more challenging. We always have a saying, right? The world doesn't owe us a living. And it's true. If Singapore can't add value to the world, we are not able to contribute, we are not relevant, I think the world will just ignore us and pass us by. Makes no difference to them if Singapore exists or not. We can only remain relevant if we remain useful. Diplomacy starts at home.
So if the US becomes further engaged and turns inwards, it poses a real risk of upending that kind of strategic equilibrium between the US and China in Southeast Asia.
China survived Trump 1.0, and will likely survive Trump 2.0. If you look at China's trading number with the US, it actually increased, surprise, surprise, between 2018, when Trump started trade war, and last year, 2023. So as long as the US consumers need goods and services from China and other markets, I'm a little bit positive this relationship will survive Trump 2.0 as well. Trump is the kind of person who is maybe more ambitious than competent. So we'll see.
There's a saying, when elephants dance, the grass gets trampled. So the question is, who will be in the grass this time? I think what's different about Trump 2.0 is that he's not just targeting China per se, but 10 to 20% tariffs on the rest of the world.
As much as we in Asia kind of dread those tariffs, I think the US manufacturers, who after all source all these inputs from these supply chains all over the world, they also have something to fear. They're not looking forward to it. So they will, I think, impose that countervailing pressure.
Do you see that in the next 4 years, China will play a more leading role in filling up that vacuum in terms of global leadership?
Don't think you'll see dramatic shifts in the international order, but I think as a good thing, you'll see more and more middle powers play a larger and larger role in terms of maintaining regional peace and stability.
Human capital is very important for the government of Indonesia. 200 students, the best of the best from that region. To send them undergrad to PhD overseas.
The youth vote is important. It is very loud. These young people want an overhaul of the system. It wants to reform Thailand, to tackle inequality.
Young people are not necessarily wholly polarized, although there are signs of polarized thinking, but they want to know what they can do. Now, because of social media, which is certainly causative and also the accelerant, lots of people get to talk about these things, and the cat is out of the bag, and there's no way you can put the cat back in the bag. At least they have some basic moral overlay, moral understanding on the tools which will be at their disposal.
They are very aspirational, young people in Malaysia. And I think if you look, there was a youth survey done. They're interested in local current affairs. So let's talk about local current affairs. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about subsidies.
With the new Trump administration coming in, do you expect that if matters escalate in the South China Sea, do you think that the Southeast Asian nations will be left to fend for themselves, or whether that you could still rely on the American government to step in?
A very provocative question. ASEAN to be more solid in the near future is very, very important. We should understand, don't look at only for your own interests, but look at also ASEAN as a big market. Why should create, hostile, attitude to China or to any other country? We need them. They need us. So that's, I think, the spirit also in ASEAN. If I go back to ASEAN again, we should establish this kind of spirit. We need each other.